When is your birthday?
February 21st.
Okay. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a little town. Well, it's not so little, tiny, but Indianapolis is my town. And that's where I was raised. I went all the way through high school there.
Did that place have any influence on your current career?
You know, it's funny. It did, because I always wanted to get out of it. And so the farthest way you could get from Indianapolis was overseas. So I always wanted to go overseas.
Do you have any interests?
I do. We do a lot of politics, but I'm also very interested in history and architecture. I like football. You may know the Colts are in the Super Bowl this Sunday, and they're going to win.
Did you have a role model in your life growing up?
I did. I had a lot. My dad, of course, was my biggest role model. He's the guy who taught me everything. But I also liked historical figures. I was very interested in ancient history and interested in the Roman emperors and how they managed to bring together so many people and keep them sort of flowing in a single direction. It was a fascinating thing for me. I was interested in some particular other sports athletes, things like that.
What are some of the places that the U.S. government has brought you to?
You know, I've had a career that's had a lot of travel, so I could give you a list, but I can say it's just about every Middle Eastern country. I've been to almost every Arab country. So that starts with Jordan and Tunisia, Abu Dhabi, which is the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. I've worked in India and Australia, and my first post was Canada, Quebec City, which is a French-speaking country. And so I used French when I was there.
Which country have you enjoyed the most?
You know, every one of them is really interesting in its own way. Cyprus is fascinating because of where it is, because of the deep history it has. Sierra Leone was also fascinating. Sierra Leone is a country in West Africa. It's also fascinating because of the different kind of people and the different type of life they have, the beauty of the country. It's really quite extraordinary. The sea comes straight into the town, and then the mountain comes up, and the city of Freetown goes straight up the mountain. We get 90, or they get 90 inches of rain in 1 month in July, which is the opposite of Cyprus, of course. So they're all interesting in their own way. Canada was wonderful.
How many years have you been a diplomat?
I joined the Foreign Service in 1981. I was in the first class under President Reagan. So that's 30.
Is there a specific reason why you wanted to become a government employee?
No, in fact, I can't spy. I never met a diplomat. I never met anybody that worked for the government, except my mother was in the post office. But I wanted to be in the Foreign Service, and so I joined. I was a student in France. I suppose maybe that's what kicked me into it.
What are your benefits about being an ambassador?
Benefits? You know, it's mostly work. The biggest benefit is you meet interesting people all the time. You are always talking about issues that people are interested in. You meet people who have done different things than you. I meet lots of businessmen, journalists, musicians, all kinds of people that have skills that I don't have. And you get to learn from all of them about their lives and what brought them to Cyprus, or why they live in Cyprus, or what they do in Cyprus in the current case.
Is there a hardest part about being an ambassador?
Probably the hardest part is not getting too tired too fast, and especially not overplaying your hand. If you have, you want to look intelligent because you don't want to look stupid, but at the same time, nobody can know everything, so you have to know when to ask questions instead of answering questions.
So, kind of being modest.
I think it helps. Good work.
What is your biggest accomplishment in life?
In life, it's my family. I have 2 kids, and and taking care of them. That's the most important thing. After that, my career is very important, but everybody can live without their career. They can change careers.
Are you happy with your current position? Have you ever thought about a different career?
I've thought about it. I've talked to a lot of people that I know that are in banking or in other types of business, and while I think that would be interesting in many ways, I think that a lot of the excitement that you get as a diplomat would be absent. Of course, you make a lot more money in the private sector.
Where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
It's impossible to know that. In our system, we change every 3 years. So I've been here 18 months, so in 18 months I'll be out of Cyprus, because 18 and 18 is 3 years. But where I go next, I won't know. We'll start looking at that in the summertime. Our system, we prepare to transfer 1 year in advance. So this summer will mark 2 years that I've been on the island, and that's when I'll start looking for the next assignment a year after that.
What advice could you give to a young person such as myself who is interested in pursuing a career in the U.S. government?
Probably you want to narrow it down a bit more. The U.S. government's a pretty big institution.
To being a diplomat.
To being a diplomat. Well, get your grades up, be interested in international studies, but also not just international studies. Life is much more than just politics. You do need to know about how the banking system works. You do need to know how business people operate in your country. You do need to know how the military work. And you do need to know, of course, how international countries work together in places like the United Nations. But mostly be interested in other people and try to find ways to develop your interpersonal skills. Because at the end of the day, diplomacy is working with people. Almost any job is that, but it's critical for a diplomat.
Last question. Is there anything else you could say about being an ambassador?
Well, I never wanted to be ambassador, actually. I joined the Foreign Service because, as I said at the beginning, I wanted to be overseas and I wanted to come to know other cultures. But if you follow your heart and you do what you're really interested in my opinion, you'll do it well, and if you do it well, you'll naturally advance. But keep your studies up. Well, Ben, I'm glad to meet with you today. Thanks very much for the opportunity to talk to you.
My questions.
I appreciate it. Thank you.